Hello and welcome to Doug Draws Icons. My goal here is to help you build your visual vocabulary, one simply drawn icon at a time. And in this video, we're going to draw a gear icon, starting with a circle. That's the easy part of this icon. The tricky part is all of the notches on the outer side of the gear as you alternate between following that inner circle and then drawing those straight lines and right angles that are always kind of shifting because you want to be moving radially outward from the center. So let's get some practice with this basic shape here. Start by drawing 4 circles, fairly well separated, and then work on that outer line as you get comfortable moving in a circle, but also drawing those 3 sides of a square, essentially, after each little segment of curve. Also start to get a feel here for how long to make each of those segments in order to end up with the number of notches that you feel like looks right to you. With a circle of this size, it ends up being about 5 or 6. And also try to get a feel here for the slight adjustments that you might make toward the end of that outer loop, with perhaps slightly narrow or longer segments to complete the loop, with an inward or outward segment as needed. Once you've got a bit of a feel for the basic shape here, you can start to play around a bit by connecting multiple of these gears together to be able to show that moving one will start all the others moving as well. That gets at one of the primary associations with this type of icon, some set of interacting parts that are moving together that don't all have to be the same size. I like this type of activity because you can essentially fill a whole page like this, connecting each new gear to one that's already on the page, playing around with different sizes and different numbers of notches. There's something a little bit meditative about that. And then what you might also do is add some arrows to show what happens if you start turning one of those. How are all the others going to turn? That addition makes this set of fairly abstract icons feel like a real machine that's doing something. And to get a little bit more specific about what your machine is doing, you might want to add some labels inside of these icons. One way that I've used this as a visual metaphor in the past is in relation to the blend of courses and community that exist within Verbal to Visual. I think those are the 2 components that make Verbal to Visual a dynamic learning space. And in a previous video, I had those 2 components in the center of a diagram, and then added smaller connected gears to each of those primary components to represent all of the individual courses that exist and the primary community activities. So if what you're depicting is some sort of a system with moving parts that are connected to each other, that could be an opportunity for you to put this icon to use. I've also used it in a mashup between machine and nature, replacing it as a flower at the top of a plant, mostly as an experiment more than anything else, but could also be a way of prompting how could we model our machines after what we see in nature. That's what biomimicry is all about. Maybe this mashup could represent that term. You could also place a few interlocking gears inside of another object, like a laptop, for example, if you were describing something about the inner workings of that technology, or even of a specific website or app. And then, since this icon does have a circular shape, you could try putting a face on it, and maybe adding a body too. This particular visual starts to break down once you imagine those gears spinning, and the heads with it, but I think it still conveys the idea of 2 people working together. Another way you might have a person interacting with this icon is by showing someone getting the first of a system of gears moving, by putting in some significant effort. What else would you do with a gear icon? I encourage you to keep sketching away. And if you'd like to explore in more depth how to use icons like this as an idea capturing tool, when you're taking notes or working on a challenging problem or sharing ideas with others, that's exactly the skill that we explore at verbaltovisual.com. That's where you'll find the blend of courses and community that will help you develop and put these skills to use. Thank you so much for watching. Good luck as you continue building your visual vocabulary. I'll see you again in the next one. Till then.